It's just a way to get you to think differently about the way that you manage your time and to reduce stress. That's the bottom line. When we feel overwhelmed, when we feel overloaded, we are super, super stressed. Everything is high emotions. Everything is like super dramatic. And we just aren't our best selves. So as much as some people are really good at time management innately, some people have to work at it. It's worth it to work at it. If you're bad at it, it's worth it for peace of mind, I promise. So hopefully I'll be able to give you guys some pointers for that. So what is time management and why is it important for college students specifically? It's just simply the process of planning, the best way to organize the things that you need, and also want to do so that you can accomplish them all. Notice that need is first. So we're going to talk about sometimes when our priorities get flipped and what happens there and why that happens. It's actually kind of logical when you think about it. Effective time management is a skill. It's learned and if used regularly can be improved on. I have changed the way I manage my time over the course of my life. And continue the way that I manage my time because my life is not the same now as it was 20 years ago. So if I was doing the same things now versus then, when I was really kind of learning how to do that, I would be highly unsuccessful at this point. When you think about the divisions and factions of your life, like me, I'm a daughter, I'm a sister, I'm an aunt, I'm a mother, I'm a teacher. All the different things that go on and slivers of you, who you are. I'm sorry, I'm chewing gum because I'm trying to not cough. I don't know if it's going to help me, but I'm trying. I usually wouldn't do a presentation with gum in my mouth, just so you know. So, every time you add a new element to who you are, a new sliver, and you've divided yourself up again, you need to change the way that you manage your things. That's kind of my rule that I go by and my indicator of I might have to move some things. Time management is important for college students because in order to be successful, you have to balance your time wisely among the many commitments that you have. You guys already know that. And if you didn't know it before August this year, you do now. So the time famine, that's just the whole feeling of, that we've all felt, no doubt, of the feeling of that there's not enough hours in the day. That you really need somehow 36 hours instead of 24. The truth is, would you actually get more stuff done? So this is why time management is really important. Do we use our time effectively that we have, effectively and efficiently? And if not, how to change those things. For example, if you think back over the course of your day and you can think about what you did between 8 and 10 this morning, break it down into 2-hour chunks. And then between 10 and 12, 12 and 2, 2 and 4, 4 and 6, and 6 and 8. That's a 12-hour day. That was 12 hours. Of those 12 hours, how many of those hours were you actually productive? Where you feel really good about what you've done? Sitting in class counts as being productive, even if your mind's foggy and whatever. Sitting in class still counts, okay? But how many of you played on your phone for a while of those things? Or looked at social media? So it's not that if we added more hours to the day, we would just be wasting more time every day, most of us. So it's all about how you think about your time. Bad time management equals stress. I know that everyone understands that. And this is not college advice, this is life advice. Do you think that the CEO of Turner Broadcasting is bad at time management? No. I don't know that person from anybody. I don't know their name, but I can just tell you they're probably pretty good at time management. They're also probably pretty good at delegation, which is a time management killer. If you can delegate things to people in your life, you should do that. If you're a control freak like me, that's going to be hard for you, but you will learn that skill or you will not survive. So you have to learn to give up some things. There are some days that I can waste probably 7, 8, 9 hours a day. Like, I'm really good at wasting time if I let myself. Signs of time wasting. If you have a messy desk or cluttered and no files. Why is that a time waster?
Because it takes you more effort to find what you're looking for and get started.
Yes. Now, I am highly aware that, like, this is my spot where I always place my key. And someone tidies up everything, and that's not where my key is anymore. Now I spend 10 minutes looking for that key. Right? I am highly aware that those things exist. Or, like, I know that X paper is the 4th paper down in that stack. And then somebody moves that stack, and I'm like, where did that paper go? I need that paper. Right? So, that exists. But is that, it's, I guess, some form of organization, but is it organized? No. Every year I teach transposition tests for my conducting class and my advanced arranging pedagogy class. Every year I go to my file, up in my file cabinet, and I go to those courses, advanced arranging and pedagogy or conducting, and I pull out the appropriate test. It's there. I know where it is every year. It's organized because it's filed away. If you're like, okay, I got to start filing, yes. Yes, you do. Buy one of those little boxes at Staples with a handle on it. They're really nifty. And buy one package of folders, hanging file folders. And get those nifty little, like, doodad things. You get to, like, put them in the slots and write stuff on. Get yourself a fancy Sharpie. Like, maximize it, right? Put that in there. She loves that idea. Katie was super excited about that. So if you can't find things, that's a pretty good indicator that you're probably wasting time because you have to look for stuff. If you miss appointments, need to reschedule them, and are late or unprepared for meetings. This is becoming a thing more and more and more where people, and it's frustrating for me because I am a person who is, I try to keep my commitments. Sometimes it doesn't work, but I try very hard to keep my commitments. And it's the exception to the norm if I don't, not that's just who I am as a person, right? We all know there's people you're like, they're always late. Versus someone who's like never ever late, and then they're late and you're like, oh my gosh, I hope they're okay. Right? So if you're that person who misses appointments or things, you've got to learn how to be organized. Volunteer to do things other people should do, time killer, and tired and unable to concentrate. That's just called college. All right, you have a 12-question quiz real quick. Just get out something to, on your own. This is just an indicator for you to be able to test yourself and see how good you are with time management. Be honest. No one's going to know what you score. So be honest. If you score between 9 and 12, you're a pretty good time manager. For you. 5 and 8, you're on the right path. 1 and 4, I'm glad you're here. Regardless of your score, there's obviously still things, hopefully in the next slides, that you guys can work on. The first and most important thing, very sincerely, is you have to be honest about what and how you manage so that you know where you can fix your time. Okay. If you aren't sure about where you're losing time, keep for 1 week. This is actually very hard to do, but seriously, for 1 week, When you go do an activity or something, write down on a piece of paper or on your phone what activity you just did and how long you spent doing it. It's alarming, actually. I've done this, at how much time you have that's wasted. That doesn't mean you should be constantly doing things. Please do not misunderstand that. That just means that of all the hours that add up over the course of a day, you actually spend more time typically not being productive rather than being productive. Your brain doesn't need that much time off. Okay, so I use this Quadrant to-do list all the time in my life. I have an Excel sheet. I have it color-coded because that's me. And I have 1s, 2s, 3s, and 4s. 1s are on fire. These are the red ones on my Excel sheet. P.S. As time goes on, they change colors. Because this is in an order of importance, a hierarchical order of what needs to get done first. These are things that are critical. Deadline's approaching, test is happening, whatever is about to ensuing be here. These are things that are not critical, but could become critical pretty quickly if I let them get away from me. Okay? Just so you know, I don't live in this quadrant. This is high stress. However, people will put things in that quadrant for you. You know, oh my gosh, Dr. Diamond. Now, I can't do any of these things because I'm dealing with this. Right? Remember all the slivers of your life. Friend, son, daughter, brother, sister, aunt, uncle, grandchild. I mean, we have grandparents, so you're a grandchild, you should keep up those relationships, right? So all those slivers, someone in one of those slivers is going to go, bam, and throw some things in there. If you are a I live in this quadrant type of person, stop it. Because people will continue to do that to you. And you don't need any help, right? Adding to that box, but it will happen. And some things happen. I mean, they're not doing it to you to be mean. They're just doing it because they need you, right? So most of my items live in quadrant 2. They're coming up. I need to get them done. It's not tomorrow. It's not tonight. I don't have to pull an all-nighter for these things. These are, it's not that they're not important. It's just that they're longer term. It's still due soon, but it's like, it's not my report for my tenure and promotion file. I'm making that up. I don't have that. But I'm just saying, like, it's not that. It's like, I have to grade a test. Is that important? Of course it is. Is it as important as the rest of my career? Probably not. It may be to the students who are waiting for their test grade. But realistically, it's not. You have to have a hierarchy of things, right? And who's going to write my tenure and promotion file? Me. I'm the one who can do that. So I have to do it. Okay? So, again, it's just an example. So the things that live here, this box is like long-term planning. And it's shaded blue for me. Like, cool as a cucumber. It's totally fine. That's on my list of things to do, like brainstorming-wise, for long term. It could be 5 years from now. So that's long term. That's in this quadrant. If you can think about your things that you have coming at you and put them in quadrants, it helps you organize at least a hierarchy of where things should be.
I feel like my issue is that I can't decide what's important and what's not important. So like doing the list, it's like, oh yes, I have like things that I need to do and I put them in order that I should do them, and then I realize that it's...
So we'll talk about those things too, because there's a double-edged sword here. While I do that, I realize that I do some things maybe in this box when it's not like this box is empty, but I maybe am working on some things in this box, and I'll tell you why. sometimes they might be harder. Sometimes something might be a huge project that I know is going to take a while. And I know I can get this done in like 20 minutes. So I'll start working on this because it's like cleaning your room as a kid, right? Did you go in and like make your bed first? If you did, you were stalling, right? Because you probably covered up some toys and crap on your bed. So you gotta like pick up the massive stuff or the books that are everywhere or whatever and do that stuff first. Do the hard stuff first and then make your bed last. So that's what I kind of do. I make myself do the hard things first, or the bigger things. Let's just say the time-intensive things, because then that's a huge weight. Believe it or not, even though it's not in this box, it's a huge weight off of me. I used to get massive anxiety writing my last paragraph of work. Seriously, like I would have to like almost leave and come back. Because it was like, finally, I'm almost done. And it was like almost paralyzing. Because I just needed it to be gone. So I totally get that. Be conscious of the amount of time that you spend on academic, social, and personal activities and high school versus college life. Let's do a math equation real quick. Some of you have seen me do this before. If you haven't, get ready to have your mind blown. All right, so high school, start time in high school. We'll just come to a consensus here. What is your high school relative start time at school? 7:20, 7:30?
8:20.
8:15. 7:30?
7:20.
All right.
8. Yeah, just 8.
We're gonna call it 8. I like round numbers.
That's a lie. I love how you do your 8s because that's how I draw my 8s too.
Oh.
Everyone does like anything.
Yeah.
Even if you do the 2 circles, you can just make them touch it. But then your zeros are touching. Now it's back.
All right.
Google.
I'm seeing a G.
Connected to Google.
All right. So we have. Oh, look, my niece painted my nails last night. It's already chipping. That's it. Can't find good help these days anymore. She's 8. It's fine. Okay, so starts at 8 a.m. And what time does school roughly end?
3:30.
2:35.
3:30.
How about I say 3:15 so it's a happy medium? I heard 3s and 3:30, so 3:15.
That's fine.
So Monday through Friday, someone who's good at math, do this. How many hours a day is that?
7.
And times 5 days.
That's 35 plus. That's 36 hours and 15 minutes. I think.
Yes.
That's a number.
You're
All right.
correct.
So let's say 36 and a half hours a week. How many hours is a full-time job when you guys finally get out of here? 40 hours a week. So this is almost full-time. Okay? It's a full-time job. Anything over 40 hours in real life, you get overtime. Not in my life, but in real life. So you get overtime. And so this is your job, right? When you go to school, your job is to go to school. So that works about right. All right, awesome. Let's talk about high school band, which all of you were a part of. I'm just gonna go ahead and do rough estimates of things because I've been here a while. Around here, people usually rehearse 3 days a week, on average. 2.5 to 3 hours each of those rehearsals, for equaling roughly 6 to 8 hours of rehearsal a week. Is that pretty close? All right, so we'll do 6 to 8 hours.
Doesn't include Saturday though.
Oh, we're getting there.
Friday games.
Oh, we're getting there. We're just doing rehearsal right now. So 6 to 8 hours of rehearsal, and then we have Friday night football games, which depending on if they're home or away, maybe there's a call time of 4 p.m. Fridays, and you could be back at 1 a.m.
Yeah.
If it's an away game.
So we're just going to guess that for now, knowing that these things will change. If you were a part of a program that did Saturday rehearsals, those were 12-hour days.
Yep.
And you may have had 2 or 3 of those.
More
So
than that.
we'll say, or more than that, 12 hours times 3, whatever. Okay? Now listen, We have talked about school. We have talked about band. We have not talked about eating, sleeping,
Transportation, that was a big one.
studying, social life, practicing,
We all did
No, I
that,
mean,
right?
like-
of course, right? So let's say 36 hours plus 8 is what?
What is what?
36 plus 8,
44.5.
44.5
Plus another 8.
plus this is 8?
Yeah,
Okay, so 8
That's 9 hours.
that's 9, sorry.
That's 9 hours.
plus 9, 53, and then plus 12 hours sometimes a week, 65 to 70 hours a week that we have, and we haven't talked about eating, sleeping, driving, working. How many of you had jobs in high school? Right?
With what time?
How many of you had responsibilities at church? How many of you did Eagle Scouts, Boy Scouts, Gold Star, Girl Scouts? Okay, so you see where I'm headed with this. All right, this is high school. So on an average week, you were doing 65 to 70 hours of just school and band. Let's go to college. In college, you all know that a contact hour, a credit hour is a contact hour. So these are contact hours, meaning someone is expecting you to be there. Someone is counting on you to be physically present somewhere. That's a physical contact hour. In college, a full load is 12 to 15. Physical contact hours.
Sure.
True story, it is. We can all balk at it, but music ed majors it is.
Yeah.
So, quickly, around the room, how many hours are you taking?
18.
Mine is different.
9. Mhm.
17, 16.
16.
12.
16, I forgot.
13.
9.
15,
12.
18.
12.
Okay, so we're all in that ballpark of physical contact hours. So already with our classes, we're already, what's 70 minus 15?
55.
We already have 55 more hours free in our life than we did when we were 18 years old. Already.
I feel it.
It should feel good.
True.
But here's the thing, how many freshmen, and I'm not picking on freshmen by any means, but how many freshmen, because of this transition, feel incredibly overwhelmed? But why?
Because it's different brain.
It's different because you've been going, I know exactly why.
They don't have everything scheduled.
You don't have every moment scheduled. So I had a freshman this year, and I'm just gonna say this because it's true. I had a couple freshmen this year, they're like, band is so overwhelming, blah, 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 and this is why when people come to tell me that, I'm like, really? Is it? Because I don't think it is. It's that they don't know how to manage their time. When you have downtime, when you're this age, what did you do in your downtime?
Sleep.
Sleep or?
Crying.
Did you say video games? Video games or
Romance.
social media. So did you say romance? Okay.
He just ordered people.
Okay. So you probably picked something social because you didn't have time to be social. I mean, when you think back to your life, you didn't start this way out in kindergarten, but it just morphed and transformed over time. You guys, I actually, 2 years ago, I met with a mom and a daughter, prospective student, and after doing this example for the daughter, because she was like, the daughter was like on the edge of a nervous breakdown, was like, I don't think I can do band in college. Like, why? She's like, because I'm already so busy. And so I was like, okay. So I did my thing. The mom actually thanked me. She was up in the 90s of all the different things that she was doing. And her mom said to me in front of her daughter, thank you so much for showing me that. I was seriously thinking that she wasn't working enough and I was going to make her get a third job. And I was like, you know you're going to kill your daughter, right? Like, so you just acclimate. You acclimate. And so you've been going this entire time in your life, 18 years hits, boom, May, you graduate, life changes as you know it. And you go from this to this. So, again, when people say to me that they don't have enough time and they're band students, I'm like, wrong. The problem is that you have more time. And you trained yourself over all those years to do something social when you had downtime. And now, you do way more social things and fun things than you do work. It is true. I figured this out years ago when my engineering students, who were brilliant, were failing classes. I was like, why? Why are you failing? This is silliness. And I sat down and talked with them, and it was seriously like a light bulb, like, oh, it has nothing to do with intelligence or anything. It has to do with too much time. So, now, does this make sense?
Yes.
So wait, what are we going to do with our 55 hours, and how are we going to make that meaningful? All right, so again, the goal is to find a balance, and the one way to do that is with a weekly schedule. Sean, I'm going to wrap this up here in a minute.
No, I wasn't checking time.
Oh, no, I didn't know that you did that. I was just telling you. But if you want me to go, I did. A college student schedule generally follows your classes. That's a no-brainer, right? So you have pretty much the same weeks over and over again. Remember, your job as a student is to be a student. So you need to be thinking about it like your high school days when you were spending a full-time job amount of time. You did that before, successfully, because you're here in college. So I know you did. Otherwise you wouldn't be sitting here. This is just an example of a weekly planned schedule. Wake up, drive to KSU, classes, tutoring, work on English, lunch, student job, if you had a job. Go home, have some free time, dinner, and then study. Etc. But that's a full day. That's a full day. That's you being a full-time student. Now, is it lovely to wake up at 6 a.m.? No. Of course not. You know, and quite honestly, if I was being really truthful, I would also insert like gym time or running time or walking time or just some time to be doing something physical, because that's the best time for your brain to recuperate. You actually, studies show you actually memorize and remember facts better when you oxygenate your brain, which means run or walk. Now, you get that in marching band. You do get that. So you are doing that for 2 hours a day if you're in the marching band, but it's still important for you to realize that that's an element of your life that you have to do. General tips. So schedule fixed commitments such as classes, employments, and appointments first. That's a no-brainer. And then go back and forth and schedule balanced the work and the fun. Don't just, you have all that open time and then you just schedule all fun. Beware of little things that take up precious time, such as walking to class, waiting in line for lunch, all that stuff. Those are time killers that drive me nuts. The biggest one that drives me crazy is driving.
Yes. Yes.
It's fun living in that
No. If possible, tasks that take up a large amount of time should be organized into smaller, more controllable items. Yeah, like studying 8 hours for a comprehensive final can be broken up into, right? Allow some flexibility so that you can accommodate things that pop up in your quadrant 1 especially. Those things are going to happen, so you've got to accommodate for that. If you're a procrastinator and you constantly wait to the end to do things and then a quadrant 1 thing pops up, you're high stress then. It's high stress. All right, so another way to do this is to organize with your calendar, and I'm going to show you.
Yes.
So I'm going to show you my calendar. So this is my personal calendar that has everything in it in life.
Yes.
And you can see down here it says 6 more, all these different things, 7 more, 11 more.
Yeah.
That's pretty tricky, is that calendar?
Have you seen Austin Cookers?
So, and I do color code things, and I do put them in specific calendars because at the end of the year, when I do my annual report, I uncheck certain things and they go away, or I recheck things and they come back, et cetera, et cetera. And so there is life. My life. If and I'll go backwards because these things have already happened, but if this doesn't exist, I don't know what to do. Very sincerely.
And it takes stress off of you because you don't have to hold all of that stuff in your head. You can just put it down.
I can't even imagine trying to hold that in my head. Point being, that's really important for me. I do practice what I preach. Keep a calendar. One day these days I'm going to find it. I know it's in my basement in a thing somewhere. I just have to find which one it is. They all look the same. I still have my calendars, my planners when I was an undergrad. And they were like the little ones that you could open up and write in the calendars because we didn't have technology. And you'd open it like this, and I had specific formatting that I liked, and it was, you could see the whole month, and it came with stickers, and I would put red stickers on when I had tests, blue stickers when I was going to go to the gym, all the crap. And I would open it up and know what my day was going to be. Now, things ding at me. Ding! What am I missing? Cool, I have 15 minutes to get wherever. But it started out with a paper calendar. Write down assignments on the due date that they're due. Here's something that I do a lot if I have a big project due, like this presentation. A week ago, tonight, my computer dinged at me and said, presentation Thursday night. So I was reminded I have a week, which is Quadrant 2, so I wasn't stressed. Set reminders. Set them not for 10 minutes beforehand. Test in 10 minutes, well that does me no good. Thanks, self. Right? Write down all the things you want to do and write on the calendar when you plan to begin them. I set multiple things on my calendars. I just put them there, but I showed you my real ones, so boom. Disneyland was built in 366 days. 1 year it was built. We can do this. I promise, we've got this. Start early, don't procrastinate, and work steadily throughout the time. Something that a dissertation taught me, nobody was checking on me to see if I was writing my dissertation. There's not a single person. Nobody cares. It's your project. You signed up for it. You do it. So it really was on me. I had to be motivated to do it. I had to set time apart from life to do it. And that was a very good learning skill for me, to work steadily and consistently through that process. Again, nobody cares more about your degree than you. I'm a very close second, but you should be number one. Smaller tasks are easier to understand and manage than large. And you also get that wonderful feeling of checking things off little by little. Bless you. They're also easier to fit in your schedule. So how many of you have like a block that's like 3 hours where you could sit down and do it? Good for you. I don't always have that luxury. I might have 15, 20 minutes or 30 minutes here or there, if I'm lucky. And I could sit there and go, God, I've got that project to do that's 3 hours long. Or I could say, I'm going to get whatever done in 15 minutes. You can fold and put away laundry in 15 minutes, for example. Okay? So whatever you can do to use that time, and I promise it's just taking stress off of yourself. Term papers, obviously, but dividing it up is really helpful. Writing things down, using your calendar. You know, hey Siri, remind me when I get home, that kind of stuff. All the time. Remind me when I get home to put the laundry in the dryer. I pull into my garage, ding, what is this telling me? Oh, good, Siri's listening to me right now. Awesome, I wonder what I'm gonna hear when I get home. But I really do a lot of that, and it dings and reminds me. I like that sigh. Yep. So I love everyone dearly, and so this, if I'm describing you, I'm not meaning to, but the people who sit out in the hallway in the music building for like 6 hours a day, and then come to me and are like, Dr. T, I'm so stressed out, I have blah, blah, and I'm like, and I don't even have to be out there because I can hear them and every story that they tell in my office.
I see the same person whenever you go there.
So I'm not saying to not do those types of things. Please do not misunderstand me. But 6 hours is a bit much. And when it gets really stressful, and it does for teachers too, when it gets really stressful at the end of the semester, when everyone's like, oh, I will go out and tell people to leave. Like, you gotta go. I don't know where you're gonna go, but not here. So really, really be honest with yourself about how you're using your time. Remember that you probably have more time in your life than you've ever had. And I realize that I can't say this to every audience that I would talk to, but you are all band people. So I know exactly what we have all done and how busy we are and how not busy you actually are now. I seriously look back to my undergrad and I think, I really thought I was busy. And I was taking 22 credit hours a semester. And marching in the drum line. And I taught. And I had a job. I loved every minute of my undergrad. Sincerely. Every minute of it I really loved. But I always thought I was really busy. And I was like, now I have a kid. You know, it's like, you know, those life things that change. It's like, oh God, I thought I was busy. Right? So be mindful about that. And in summary, remember that it is a skill. You're not going to be good at this unless you work at it. I didn't know how to manage my time until I just did it. Probably the worst transition of my life was moving from paper to technology. But once I did, I mean, I went in kicking and screaming the whole way. But once I finally did, it really is better. Use a weekly or monthly, whichever one best fits your life. That's why I like iCal, because it actually can go back and forth, or daily. And write out what you need to do and plan. Plan when to begin. And I promise you, you will feel so less stressed. That's one way to do this. It's not the way, it's a way. Any questions or anything specific, Jasmine?
I think one thing is like maybe a college student, maybe just like percent existing, is how do you go from being like good at managing your time to like totally being like guilt tripping yourself whenever you like don't do something, like wow, I could be doing something right now.
Oh, I still do that. You'll get better with that over time. And here's where because we have been so busy that we justify like I'm gonna stay on the couch for all day. And I have those days, not gonna lie. I absolutely have those days. But in 365 days a year, I might have 10 of those. And if I'm doing that, I need it. It's when those days become the norm and you're like, I have time. Again, that's why people get stressed, because you do have time. You do have time. So you push it off. So the guilt tripping, the word recreation, doing recreational activities, like hiking, playing video games, those types of things, it means to recreate yourself. And to recreate yourself means to make your mind whole and new again. Laying on a couch doesn't recreate you. It might let you rest, which is, again, okay. You need to listen to your body and do those things. But if you're constantly laying on the couch, that's not recreation. It's actually really not helping you. You have to find a way, go take a walk. I have never gotten up from a couch, gone for a walk, and come back and gone, well, that was stupid. I've always been like, I'm so glad I did that. I feel better. Now I'm energized and ready to go again. Boom. So true recreation, a chance to really recreate yourself, is what the goal is. That way you're constantly making yourself a better you. And on those days when you just need to crash. Do it. And don't feel guilty about it. I only feel guilty about it when I do it like 2 days in a row. Then I'm like, okay, this is absurd. I need to get up.
Say that you're in the first quadrant where like something is due soon and it's very important, and then life happens. Like something, like you get sick unexpectedly, something happens in the family. How would you manage? Like how would you go about dealing with that? Like in a productive way. Like so you're still not stressed.
So there's no perfect way to be able to do that. I mean, there's going to be times that you're stressed. The best time managers in the world are stressed. That's just the reality of what it is. That's also because we're so accessible. It's hard to completely shut yourself off. When I'm really working on a project, that phone is silent and not even near me. I don't know where it is, and this Fitbit gets like thrown across the room. I don't even care where it lands. Like, we're very accessible, and so it's not that you're ever going to find that perfect situation, and you are going to have those quadrant 1 moments. Just do your best, and it takes practice, to not leave yourself in a wedge of quadrant 1. Again, sometimes things come to you. I can't tell you how many times I'll get a phone call from somebody. Or, like example, with what I was telling the band Tuesday, the guy from Strategic Communications who works directly with the president's office is like hounding me for names of students and information about the students and data and all this stuff. And it's like, it's not easy to get that stuff. I actually have to really go dig and look. I'm not making up numbers and things, so I'm really giving people and connected to information. He wouldn't leave me alone, and it's coming from the president's office. We're in the middle of midterms, and I finally said, Travis, I'm working on it, but I am neck deep in midterms. So I promise you, I will have those to you tonight. And I did. I had those names and everything to him that one night. But I try to be as professional as possible, still accomplish what needs to be accomplished. I mean, it's the president's office asking for things from me when I had plenty of other things to do on my plate. I didn't ask for that. But I'm also grateful for it because it's a really cool thing. So, it's just like, gotta be careful what you wish for in life. Be surrounded by awesome people and have to do more work because of it. Well, okay. That's not a great answer because it really is contextual. Just do the best you can and remain professional. Because remember, it's your reputation. So it's not going to be lovely to hear that we waste time. It wasn't lovely for me to reveal it to myself. But that's how I'm better. Okay. Thanks for inviting me. Thank you. 55 hours a week on average.